usually hear from him. Just like this is the BBC radio. Thank you a lot. So,
Thank you, Dr. Nazar. So, greetings again from the IMS. Thank you all of you for being here, and thank you, of course, for the invitation. And special thanks to Dr. Anand Acharya, who instituted this oration in the name of his father. I speak on optic nerve decompression, and this is a relatively easy talk for me because my first presentation at a national meeting was on this topic. That was 35 odd years ago. It was my MS thesis topic many ages ago. Optic nerve decompression of the IMS was started in 1986. I joined in 88, and by then we had done 4 cases. And then we were in a situation to think that we could move forward and perhaps document and do research on this topic, which was my job. So over the years, we have done this operation for trauma, for PNS tumors and dysplasia, for thyroid exophthalmos. We don't do that much anymore. For allergic fungal sinusitis, for orbital cellulitis and invasive fungal disease, we don't do that at all anymore. And of course, there's been a fair evolution. The topic is titled When, Why, When and How. I must say that when we started out, how was a big issue. Today, how is not that big an issue. That's fairly sorted. But when we started out, this is how we used to do it. We used to do an external ethmoidectomy. We had a Lynch-Howard incision. We were webbing it a bit to improve the scar. And the operation basically involved raising the periosteum of the lamina pancreatia, identifying the anterior ethmoidal artery by holding it, going through it, finding the posterior ethmoidal, and then following it up. And we had this 24-12-6 rule, which from my generation you might remember, is basically about 24 millimeters from the anterior lateral crest, another 12 millimeters to the posterior ethmoidal artery, and 6 millimeters to the optic nerve. And that was the only landmark we had. And then you sort of saw this bulge on the sphenoid, and that was it. So much has changed since. Optics has improved, CT scans have improved dramatically. And today, of course, we do this almost exclusively endoscopically. I think endoscopic is easier. I did find that for a fair length of time. I always thought the external ethmoid was a basic operation because I had grown up with it. Till a resident asked me, he said, is the anterior external operation easier or the endoscopic? Because she was looking at which one to follow. And I realized the endoscopic is easier, straightforward. There are so many more landmarks because you see every step, you see the uncinate, you see the bulla, you see the basal lamella, you see everything, and so you go in a stepwise manner. You get a better angle of approach because when you come from below and you come from more medial, you get a better angle of approach, and you can see that when you come almost parallel to the optic nerve, when you sort of come from an external ethmoidectomy, when you come from below and medial, you get a better angle, and so it's easier to work. So yes, today it's endoscopic, and there's every reason to do that. But coming back to what happens, that was a little bit of how. I'll come back to that, a little bit of why. So what I have for you here was part of my thesis when I was researching this topic. And this is basically information that came through at the time of World War I, when they actually had a chance to do a fair number of autopsies, and patients didn't quite get the care that they get today. So what can happen if you get an injury to the optic nerve is basically you can have avulsion, which is unusual. You can have shearing in the fibers, which is unusual. You can get compression, which is very usual. You can get fractures, and you can get hematomas. But this is all primary injury. What happens after this is akin to what happens in spinal cord injury, that you also have secondary injury. So after the initial assault or the initial injury,